Hey cats, it's Ed, Number Cruncher Bud here. I recently ran a poll on the community section of the channel to find out which shoes the viewers had worn to get their personal bests, personal records or top times. I've looked at the main race distances, 5k, 10k, the half marathon and the full Snickers. I've spent quite a bit of time compiling these results all together, and they are quite interesting, it has to be said. Let's head down the rabbit hole and find out which shoes are the record setters for the viewers of the channel. Thanks for tuning in, people, it is always appreciated. The channel has hit its stride recently and we're getting that little bit closer towards the magic 100,000 subscribers. I'll get there come hell or high water. Do hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up like, but also share it with your running buddies. A super thanks as well goes a long way to keep the shoe supply satisfied. You can do a super thanks down below somewhere here. You probably know how it works. In total, we had 297 personal bests recorded on the poll. I tried to isolate all of them out to specific shoes. If I couldn't do that, then I kind of discarded the result. There were quite a few I couldn't categorize or they didn't have distances by them. I have kept the results to the 4 main race distances over road. So that's 5k, 10k, half marathon and the full marathon. So, of those personal bests, here come some stats. There were 88 recorded for the 5k, 81 for the 10k, 84 for the half marathon, and only 44 for the marathon. That suggests to me that people in general run the shorter distances more often. That kind of makes sense. Marathons less often, as we would expect, really. They take a little bit more out of you. And probably raise yourself for a half marathon more than you can a full Snickers. I'm really hungry. We're going to start with a 5k distance first. In 5th place with 4.6% of records set is the Endorphin Speed 1. This is clearly a shoe that over the last couple of years has been a real favourite with the viewers of the channel. I guess light enough that you can use it over the 3.1 mile distance, and it's helped quite a number of you to get your 5k personal best. In 4th position is the Vaporfly Next Percent version 1. So this has helped runners roughly to about 8% of PBs. I think it's another shoe that's just so light really on foot that it can work for practically any distance. Some people do seem to favour the version 1 Vaporfly Next Percent over the 2. They just prefer that more bin bag like upper. In 3rd position is the heavier Alphafly Next Percent version 1. 9.1% of you suggested you got your 5k personal best running in that shoe. A lot of people prefer the 4mm drop in the original version of the Alphafly as opposed to the supposed 8mm drop in the new version. I mean, it's supposed to be Nike's marathon shoe here, yet people are using it for the 5k. Supposedly a good option if you just want to do an 1/8 of a marathon. In second by only a nose is the Adidas Adizero Takumi Sen 8. That's certainly a favourite of mine. I've run some very fast 5Ks in it over the last year or so. A whopping 10.2% of all 5K records recorded here by the viewers in the Sen 8. In top spot PR pickers, it is the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2. There's a whopping 19.3% of you that put down your PBs here, suggest you got it in this shoe. Certainly a record-breaking shoe across all the distances, really. Viewers seem to really go for that over the shorter blasts. I too have my PR in that shoe, so I can't complain about this result whatsoever. Okay, that's the 5k down now for the 10k. So for the 10k, 5 shoes accounted for 51% of all of the personal bests. Quite telling that over half of you opted for one of these 5 shoes, or at least you were wearing them while you grabbed your personal best over this distance. So in joint 4th position here is a Vaporfly Next Percent version 1. 6.2% of you recorded this one for the 10k, and also the Endorphin Speed 1 from Saucony. So both options here from 2020, quite telling that over time these have produced a significant number of PRs for viewers of the channel. Seems like they remain a worthy option for the 10k distance even now. In 3rd place with 8.6% of all records listed on the poll is the Takumi Sen 8. It's proving to be a very popular shoe for the viewers out there. I wasn't too sure about it at first, but that shoe really grew on me and has become actually one of the best shoes for me over the last year. Excellent cushion and super grip over the shorter distances. It's often highly discounted as well, which makes it even more of a viable option if you're going to run a faster 10k. In second place, we have the Alphafly Next Percent version 1. 12.3% of all the viewer recorded PRs listed on the community section on the poll, at least, were in the Alphafly V1. Perhaps people feeling that the shoe simply works on any distance from a cushion and propulsion perspective. Certainly the heaviest shoe in this top 5 here, by some way as well, if I recall. I think mine were about 270, something like that. Certainly hasn't deterred the viewers from utilising it over any distance. In first place, but by a more marginal amount this time, is the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. This time, 17.3% of all 10k personal bests or records were achieved in this shoe. So the Alphafly 1 and Next Percent 2 account for 29.6% of all the results on the poll for the 10k. Quite a startling statistic there, certainly in favour of Nike and that ZoomX material. I got a few midpoint stats for you before we move on to the half and the full marathon. We had slightly more 5k distance records listed than the 10k or half marathon. It's only by a couple of percent over the 10k and half. And of course, less people run marathons. I think only about 14.8% of all the personal bests recorded on the poll were actually for the marathon. The Takumi Sen 8 only accounted for 17 or 5.7% of all PRs over all distances. The Speed 1 was just behind that with 13 or 4.4% of all bests noted on the poll. I don't think you need to be a genius to figure out which shoes are going to be right up at the top for the half and the full marathon. Moving to the half next. Let's go. For the half marathon, we've got about 84 PRs to consider. The top 5 shoes make up a massive 58.3% of all of the records. These are clearly the most popular options by a very large margin. Starting off in 5th place, we have the Adios Pro 2 from Adidas. The shoe now heavily discounted and still a worthy half marathon option. 4.8% of the PRs recorded for the half were in the Adios Pro 2. In 4th place is the Vaporfly Next Percent Original. Just marginally beating the Adios Pro 2 there, not by much. 6% of the viewers who achieved a PR over the half marathon were using that shoe. In 3rd place, you'll be pleased to hear we have a different brand. It's the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. Another Endorphin shoe which features a great deal over the polls. A nice iteration of the model where they didn't change too much really, they kept the original essence of the Speed. It still has the magic, and 9.5% of the viewers who recorded a half marathon PR were using the Speed 2. In 2nd place, it's the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. 17.9% of all the bests were set using the Nike ZoomX Racer. I do recall Nike putting up that you could use the shoe from 10k upwards, so it kind of makes sense, I suppose. Though I think that the shoes actually have less effect the shorter the distance. Certainly a bigger effect over the greater distance, just more cushion. I don't think you need all that much to do a 5k. In top spot, no prizes for guessing. It's the Alphafly version 1. 20.4% of runners recorded a PR over the half marathon distance using that shoe. So that means we got 38.1% of people achieved a PR over the half marathon using the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 and the Alphafly version 1. That is a stunning bit of data there. Yeah, getting on for 40% of people there who undertook a half and used that shoe, managed to get a PR. It does appear as we get closer to the marathon that people are favouring the Alphafly a little bit more. As the miles increase, that shoe seems to become more desirable. Certainly not as popular over the 5 or 10k distance, but it is surprising to see how many people just use them over any distance at all. So last up, the marathon, and only 19 shoes listed here, the least over all the distances, and there's no surprise inclusions. No surprises with the results. Quite meagre numbers in 5th place, which is a joint position. We have the Endorphin Pro 3 from Saucony and the Adios Pro 3 from Adidas. They occupy the same spot, about 4.4% of the vote. In 4th place, it's the Metaspeed Sky from Asics, a seemingly lower profile shoe which Asics have tinkered with over the last year, narrowly triumphing against the Asics. In 3rd place, it's the Vaporfly Next Percent 1. 6.6% of the marathon PRs were in that shoe. The ZoomX original that some people reckon is actually by far greater than the second version, even suggesting that the midsole might be different, but I'm not entirely sure about that. It seems very, very similar to me. Maybe aside from the original green pairs of the Next Percent, they certainly seem a little different. In second place with 9 records set, 20% of the vote, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. So the newer version of the Nike Racer has clearly helped people to more PRs overall. I think if you count both models of that shoe together, it's about 26-27% of all the PRs set in a Vaporfly shoe. No surprises in top spot, I bet you can guess it. Have a go now. The Alphafly Next Percent version 1. 24.4% of the viewers that have placed up their PRs here use that shoe over the marathon distance. It's certainly a ZoomX behemoth, one of the highest stacked shoes out there. Perhaps it's the huge discounts or the huge amount of foam in the heel, but that shoe and the 2 Vaporfly models account for 51% of all marathon PRs. Now, I understand this is just for the viewers that voted on the poll, but I do think it presents some interesting information there. 51.1% of people that ran a marathon using one of those 3 shoes managed to get a PR. I think if that doesn't make the Vaporfly and Alphafly series the GOAT running shoes, then nothing will. I think the results speak for themselves, really. As I mentioned earlier, 40.6% of all PRs over all distances go to the Vaporfly and Alphafly version 1. Almost nothing recorded for the V2 Alphafly yet, probably because it's only been out for a little while and it's still ridiculously expensive in terms of that high cost. What do you make of these results, people? I know it's a smaller subset, but I still think it's quite interesting. Perhaps some of my reviews have influenced people to get certain shoes. Perhaps some people just feel they want to use those shoes and have put in loads of training and managed to achieve those PRs. They could have run in any shoe. We will never know, but it still presents some interesting info to wade through. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one down in the comments. Just thinking about my PRs actually, 5k would be the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. For the 10k, I still think my fastest time is in the Adios Pro Original, that beautiful pink one. Yeah, I think that's still my best 10k. Half marathon is the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, and the full marathon is in the original version of the Vaporfly Next Percent. Would I switch it up now and do something a bit different? Maybe I'd try the Sen for the 10k. I still think the Alphafly just makes me burn out a little bit too quick. I don't think I need all that cushion either. I think the weight actually has an effect later in the run. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, people, down in the comments. It's musical interlude time. Today it comes from a fantastic rarities album, Look Through the Eyes of Roy Wood and Wizard. There's a couple of absolute bangers on this one that you need to check out. Are You Ready to Rock is a fantastic old style jive number from the template and cookie cutter of Bill Haley, but it's still a great track. And also you get a fantastic bagpipe solo as well, which is something that should always be featured in rock and roll music. The other track that I like for different reasons, I suppose, is Rock and Roll Winter. I believe this one was written by Roy Wood for his wife. It's a really quite touching tune. It sounds almost like something that could have been used in like a Disney film or something. Apparently they did try and get Roy Wood to work for them for a while, but he said he couldn't switch on the creativity whenever it was required. It would just sort of come to him. Rock and Roll Winter has all the hallmark Wizard stuff. It's almost coated in sugar and snow. There's some fantastic drumming in it too. It has that real gut-wrenching, emotional feel that you get from Wizard tunes. Go and check this fantastic rarities album out. It will get you in mind ready for Christmas because, you know, it's just around the corner. And to be quite honest with you, I'm a bit of a big kid and I'm really excited about it. Been watching some Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire stuff recently just to get in the mood. Look Through the Eyes of Roy Wood and Wizard. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell, also give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buds. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you